Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Being Human Now show. I'm your host, Jennifer Locksmith, and today we have Kelly Rainbow Butterfly with us. Many talk about getting humanity back on track and making the world a better place, but Kelly Rainbow Butterfly is actually doing it. Kelly is an author, editor, and publisher for Rainbow Butterfly Publications and the Sasquatch Message to Humanity channeled book series. She is in service to others as a Rainbow Reiki and quantum healing practitioner, herbalist, event coordinator, digital art creator, and marketing specialist, and the heARTist specializing in positive energy generating Orgonite or Chi energy devices. Kelly is a multidimensional accelerator, medium, and clairvoyant, and facilitates others to understand their galactic and karmic roots and offers personal readings and healing sessions. Since 2012, Kelly has been in active communication with multidimensional beings such as star elders, Sasquatch people, inner earth beings, ancestors, and nature spirits. She has learned and practiced sacred ways from divine sources and several Native American elders, shamans, and esoteric teachers. She is an active channel and has a manuscript and projects in the works for more publications. In 2019, Kelly founded the Children of Earth Coalition, an alliance of worldwide community members committed to the regeneration of Earth and all living beings. The coalition's goal is to develop spirit and nature-based educational programs, events, and holistic healing centers. It is a tree with many branches of outreach and education, such as Rainbow Butterfly Wellness Services, Sasquatch Family Reunion, and Sacred Spirit events and gatherings, Inland, Northwest, and Northeast Washington Permaculture Guilds, Intenders of the Highest Good Intentional Community, Stargazer Library, and COEC Education Center. Kelly, welcome to the Being Human Now show, and thank you so much for all you do for humanity. We appreciate you.
Yes, bless and thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and share today and inviting me on this great show.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to have you here. So, first question, you are doing so much for us. Are you open to being cloned? Because I feel like we could use you everywhere in
You
all the
know what?
states
That's
and
not a
all the
bad idea.
countries.
There's been a few times where I wish I had a clone. So
I bet.
yeah, possibly as long as it's like done in the natural way, sure, why not?
Yeah.
But
I'm just kidding, but that would be awesome. I feel like
right.
we need like Kelly here, Kelly there, Kelly everywhere. So, a lot of people say like we don't know who we are, where we came from, where we're going, which is part of like, the trouble we're in here.
Mhm.
And so one of the things I wanted to talk about was our history, because you, I feel like, have pieces to all those things. But first, I feel like we need to touch on some of your very special friends that you have that have kind of led you to your understanding of all these things, and really the friends we all have. So you
Yeah.
are in touch with certain groups, and I feel like we should probably mention them first before we get into our true history, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. Yes, well, I mean, I think probably most specifically, most people know of my connection with the Sasquatch people, and the messages that I've received from them, just the wisdom that they've taught me, that I share. But there's also so many other groups that, I'm connected with. I couldn't even really give you names for the groups, but there's so many different star elders that I've received teachings from, that I feel connections to, on a soul and karmic level and everything like that. And I've had experiences with the the fairies and nature people, and I call all these different beings people, regardless if they're really people or not, because of their consciousness.
Yeah.
um, uh, the dragon realm, and many others, but it's especially the Sasquatch and the star elders that I feel the deepest connection with, and those that share with me so that I can share that wisdom with others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe you call the Sasquatch people our elder brothers.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And that's how they've explained that they are to us, because they're the first mammal people that were seeded here on the planet.
Hmm.
what they've explained and throughout the Sasquatch Message to Humanity series is that there's been a really long evolution here on the planet of different beings, of the most conscious beings that are in the planet. And so when the planet was new, it was mostly all water.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first most intelligent, conscious species and beings on the planet were what we would call the fish people or the
Mm-hmm.
mer people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to remember that there's so many hybrid races within these races too, or different species within these races. So when you think of mer people, you might think of mermaids, but there's so many others. There could be like the amphibian type people connected with that too.
Yeah.
And so throughout time there the eons, I couldn't even tell you how how many billions of years that this has evolved over. But
Yeah.
there's the fish people, the ant people, the lizard people, the bird people, and then the mammal people,
Mm-hmm.
which we are a part of. And the Sasquatch were like, or those large hairy humanoids are the first um mammal people that were seeded here
Mm-hmm.
on this planet. And so they are our elder brothers because we are also mammal people.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
And you
now
said,
we are what we think the most intelligent conscious species here on the planet. There's others that we share it with that don't get as much acknowledgement, but that there's brilliant beings all throughout the planet. Sure, like the dolphins.
mm-hmm.
You
They're not
know,
from here, right? They're interdimensional, aren't they?
no, none of us are from here. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, they are interdimensional, but they're also physical just as we are. But
Right.
that's a large part of the Sasquatch's message is to remember our multi-dimensional nature. It doesn't just apply to us. It's to all things, all beings.
Mm-hmm.
Time and space doesn't exist, so that just goes to show you that everything is multi-dimensional.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
And they're trying to get us to remember that.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so long as we don't remember that, we can be controlled, I suppose.
Exactly. And it's it yeah, anyway, it depends on our own personal belief systems
Hmm.
and where you give your power to, you know.
Yeah.
It's because it's easy to be controlled while not being controlled as well. Things weave in and out.
Hmm.
Say I'm a sovereign being and I don't allow this, or I'm going to follow my own path, but all it takes is one little spark of fear to change that and to be able to be controlled and manipulated. So but that's part of the earth journey,
Yeah.
that's or is to navigate through those lessons.
Yeah. And I think I heard one interview where you
Mhm.
said that we are like 99% uh, part of the Sasquatch people, that we are made from them. Is that true?
Yes, well, we're 99% related as far as DNA. There's a woman named Melba Ketchum that does works with the Sasquatch Genome Project, and she's
Yes.
received different sources of DNA and tested this, and it came back with some of the hairs that she tested from Sasquatch
Hmm.
that they are 99% human and 1% something that can't be identified, nothing that's on this planet.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that shows you just how closely related we are. And the scientific name they were given is Homo sapien cognatus, which means human relative.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, I heard about that. And that was very well done. So I know
Yes,
some people are like naysaying it, but I've learned about that, and they were very careful with everything, and there were many samples that all came back the same. Yeah.
yes,
So let me see. So I remember you mentioning something which I found interesting about our history. I think it may have been more of a soul history on having to do with Orion, and how a lot of us don't realize that karma's been cleared, but it has. Can you elaborate on that?
yes. So as far as our souls go, you know, in our karmic history. So now this has been transferred into us as humans.
Hmm.
But all of us have incarnated together or, you know, participated in these different sagas, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
And Orion was a big one. It was a huge one. And we all, as humans, know each other from that time,
Hmm.
if you want to call it a time, you know, that's why I call it a saga. So,
Yeah.
um, during the time of Orion, there was a lot of control. It was 100 times more what you can imagine that's happening here on Earth.
Oh, wow.
Um, People did not uh, feel there was no sovereignty,
Hmm.
and I don't know if that really means that there was none or if they were so controlled and manipulated or where their consciousness was. But basically, there was no way out for them. It was like a prison planet
Hmm.
and experience.
Hmm.
And so we all went through that. But that has healed a long, 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 long time ago,
Hmm.
but we're still carrying it. That was such a deep-seated trauma to our souls, that what we have experienced, that even though now we're completely different beings on a completely different planet, we're still carrying that trauma with us. And that's what we're here to work out. You know, so that's why it's also important to remember that it's all been resolved, you know. So what we're working out, there's nothing actually to work out anymore. It's just in our souls, it's our emotions, it's our feelings. But again, like I said, that's the purpose, and that's why we're here
Hmm.
incarnated, is to learn those lessons and to be able to heal that.
Yeah. And grow to
Hmm.
our highest potentials.
Exactly.
Would you say, so as far as, I guess, the flesh of the human being, would you say that we are millions of years old as human beings, like bodily wise or genetics go back millions of years?
Yes, you know, yes. Although that's complicated in itself too, because if you look at it, look at humans 100 years ago, just only 100 years ago. We're very different
Hmm.
than we were even just 100 years ago. We're seeing all kinds of people coming in now, children that are very different from you and I.
Yeah.
They're very different humans, but yes, in general humanoids have been around for millions of
Hmm.
years. Yes,
Yeah.
but we keep transforming and going through our own evolutions, and you know, there's all kinds of DNA tinkering that continues to go on. So
Hmm.
even the humans that, you know, like I said, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 1,000,000 years ago, very different. But still, yes, all humanoids.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's move on. So we touched on the history. Um, well, one thing I did want to ask, well, or maybe this can be, we'll just flow it, but I kind of wanted to get into the messages from the Sasquatch people or any other groups that you are involved with, and also any advice that they have for us during this time or just in general. But one question I have before we get into that, a lot of people wonder what is behind the powers that shouldn't be, you know? Um, have they told you that? Do you have any intuitions or ideas about that?
What is behind the powers that shouldn't be?
Yeah, like what's really driving the darkness? Or I know a lot of people wonder that. Some people think it's the reptilians or
Really, it's
Illuminatis.
just consciousness. It's
Okay.
consciousness. Everything
Okay.
is consciousness.
Okay.
Everything is energy. And to view things as light and dark and good and bad
Hmm.
and all of these different things, that's a judgment. And it shows the duality, the polarity of
Hmm.
this planet. And
Hmm.
it's always going to exist on this planet,
Hmm.
at least in this time stream, you know, where we're at right now.
Yeah.
And so really, the way that I feel, the way that I've been taught, is that
Hmm.
there is no good or bad.
Okay.
Everybody and everything is just working through their own consciousness factors.
Okay.
Um, yeah, because it you can look at things in so many different ways. There are beings, however, that are working to control and to manipulate things on this planet,
Service to
things,
self.
right? Yes, exactly. Service to self beings. Um, but to view that as something completely evil, you have to realize that those beings feel that they're doing what's best for them and for their people.
Hmm.
So that's what I mean by it's all a judgment and how you choose to look at it. And it's just something that we need to navigate through together and remember that we are sovereign beings, that you don't have to give in to these different things. You don't have to give your power to some other master or to some leader,
Hmm.
especially that you don't agree with, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Excuse me. Yeah, that makes sense, which is why it's so important for us. And what you're doing is like, we're just turn our backs on that kind of and just create kind of an alternate reality, I feel like something better for us.
It's-
And you're doing that, which I want to talk about in a little while. But yeah, I would like to know about, the messages that you have for us or any groups have for the human beings right now or
Yes, well, there's so many messages. On many different subjects. So
hmm
I guess if I had to really like summarize it,
hmm
I would say that some of the most important things for us to remember, like I said, is our sovereignty. Remember that we are in control of our own power and our own thoughts and our own feelings. And so that's what we're here to work through and to remember.
hmm
And, we don't need to judge ourselves either of, oh God, I messed up again, or I'm stupid, or why can't I learn this lesson, or, things like that. And we all feel that at times.
hmm
But that's part of why we're here. And it's good to look into that, instead of ignore it, feel it. When you feel it, really feel it. And that's how you work through those things. You find the roots and the causes of these different things that we're feeling. Observe them. You don't even have to judge yourself with it,
yeah
but to observe it and and see where that stems from.
hmm
And staying close to nature, whether that be, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be out in the woods in nature. That's a wonderful benefit because we are connected to nature. So really, the more time that you can spend in nature, the more balanced you will feel, the more connected that you will feel with the
hmm
planet and with all the beings on the planet. But also being connected to nature means um, like following the natural ways or understanding, I should say, the different cycles and the different seasons that come with nature, understanding the planetary alignments that are affecting us here on this planet. But also like I said, like the cycles and seasons of things. As we know, different planetary bodies cycle around at different times, influencing the planet. But
hmm
there's also just something as simple that we can see day and night, the sun, we see the sun every day.
yeah
The moon is always there. We can depend on spring, summer, fall, and winter. And so just looking at those cycles and seasons and knowing that everything is connected with that as well, especially our emotions and our feelings as well,
hmm
that helps us to navigate things much easier too. Just to know
yeah
that we're in this right now. It's winter. It's a downtime. It's a restful time. It's time to catch up on things, but also to preserve our energy for the year ahead.
yeah
Um,
yeah
so.
um I think it's so interesting that I mean even trees, there are certain trees that don't drop fruit certain years, they take off.
Mhm.
I think it's, is it an olive tree that does that or if, I can't remember.
I'm not sure. There's a few different ones that
Yeah.
that are like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and or they won't produce until like the third year. Or you can like depend, I can't remember which ones they are, but there's one that
Yeah.
like you can like rest assured that every eighth or ninth year that it's going to produce a massive amount of fruit or something
Yeah.
like that. So
It's so
yeah,
awesome. Yeah. It's like a beautiful symphony, all of it. And I
it is.
remember you, I think in one, you said something really beautiful, and like the truth of it is how everything really is all one. Like everything, like we have a piece of everything in us, and there's a piece of us in everything.
Yeah.
I forget exactly how you described it, but you described it beautifully.
Thank you. I can't recall right now either, but yeah, I mean that's the gist of it is that we are where everything is connected to everything as
Hmm.
above, so below.
Yeah.
And everything influences everything else, and that's
Hmm.
through our consciousness.
Yeah.
That's why I said consciousness and energy is really everything, no matter how you look at it, it all comes back to that.
Yeah. Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to just pull up your website right now because you have some excerpts from your book, The Sasquatch Message to Humanity. Would you mind if I read one or two of them?
Not at all.
Okay. So yeah, I'm just going to pull this up right here. Okay. So this was said by the elder brother Sasquatch Camus, correct? Okay.
Yes.
So it says here, okay, my people is the living proof of the stories of, hang on, of your origins carried in your ancient sacred scrolls and in the ancestral oral traditions of your tribal peoples. Our knowledge is what your people has forgotten about, your true origins, nature, purpose, and destiny. And again, that was said by Camus, an elder brother Sasquatch, that I believe it was translated by, and I want to hear about this guy. He sounds amazing. Um, Sunbow,
Sun, Sunbow, true brother.
brother.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes,
then
and he is amazing. I recommend you interview him as well. So
okay, awesome. Yeah, you'll
yeah,
have to give me his info.
sure. Yes.
And I'm gonna read this one. This one's really cool too. It's kind of longer, but it's awesome. So this is also from the Sasquatch Message to Humanity. After exploring our world in its most intricate details and structures, hang on, it keeps moving. Just a second. Details and structures. The next quantum leap our collective consciousness is is meant to make in its evolutionary course comes from contact and peaceful relations with non-human intelligence, especially beings with higher interdimensional consciousness. The Sasquatch is one of them, as well as star elders, elementals, or nature spirits, and some hybrids. Just like the first thing we find in outer space is that we are not alone. As our understanding of the multiverse expands, it stretches across paths already traveled by space-faring and time-traveling beings. The only way to understand Sasquatch or star beings is through the knowledge of interdimensionality. This knowledge brings the awareness of our own multidimensional essence, needed only needed not only to reach stars in time travel, but also for our own enlightenment as we rediscover our true soul potential. With an open mind and a renewed understanding of what our multidimensional self truly is, we can tap into a remote flow of consciousness and access a reservoir of information to download and transcribe. That is awesome. So,
Yes.
that kind of leads me to ask you, like, what would we look like at our highest potentials? Like,
It's hard to say. I couldn't really say for sure, but at our highest potentials,
what are we
that's going to
capable?
it's going to look different for everybody.
Okay.
But we have the all these gifts and abilities that we're not using that we don't remember. So really at our highest potential, humans in the form that we are now, I feel would be healed, more in the heart center, working together in peaceful and harmonious ways, um, where we're helping the planet, helping the animals, helping each other,
Hmm.
not being dependent on, um, you know, governments or powers that be to rule and control things
Yeah.
for us. We would return more to our sovereign nature, and working more closely with nature.
Hmm.
And so that's what it would be. But also, as we evolve, we are moving up, and our consciousness is moving up in density, and in different dimensions as well. So when you think of like the fifth dimension, that's a beautiful, peaceful, harmonious space to be in. And
Hmm.
in that space, we don't need bodies. So, when you think of that, then we would exist to be the humans that we are now. So it's kind of a complex thought to have, but like I said, I see that humans definitely have the potential um, to live on this planet harmoniously.
Yeah. And do you think
Yes,
we were meant to be telepathically communicating with the plants, the rocks, the animals? I
absolutely.
feel like, and some people are
Yes,
already, but
yes. Yeah, absolutely. We always have, and many people have forgotten it, and it's been bred out of us in a sense.
hmm.
But it always was that way. We've always been able to communicate telepathically with all different beings,
Yeah. But we've
and
lost that, but are we getting back to that? I feel like
I believe so. I
that's
know
good.
enough people that do.
Hmm.
uh, and I see that growing on a level. I mean, a lot of times, yeah, our day-to-day people in our lives at jobs or in the community, you may not see that reflected so much with everybody, but I've been really blessed to connect with like hundreds of people around the
Hmm.
world that are aligned with that. And I'm seeing it growing year
Hmm.
by year by year. I'm connecting with more and more people that are, I guess you could say, waking up to that, or realizing, or they're going through some big transformational shift where it just, it's a wake up. It's a quickening for a lot of people, and a
Hmm.
lot of others step into it, more slowly. So, but it's here, it's there, it's happening.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel that things are really going to kind of speed up with that quite a bit now too. Part of that is, once again, the planetary alignments, and it's the season for it.
Hmm.
Um, so this is today is the Lunar New Year, the year of the wood snake, that's, representing a lot of transformation and
Hmm.
personal growth, a lot of different things happening. And also right now, where Uranus is at for the next 20 years, we're going to see a lot of big changes happening, on not just in our souls and within our consciousness,
Hmm.
but externally too. We're going to see a whole new era of lots of big shifts and changes, kind of a technology revolution again. Even though we've been going through there's going to be a lot of different shifts and changes. So it depends on us and how we handle that.
Yeah. And how we raise our consciousnesses.
Right.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, how we raise our consciousness and how we choose to view things,
hmm. Yeah.
because you can look at the world and say, oh my God, this is terrible, all these, terrible things happening. But I see it as change. It's change. Change needs to happen.
Yeah.
So even if you want to look at little aspects and say, oh no, this isn't favorable or something like that, it's all instigating the change that needs to happen.
Yeah. Would you describe it? I think you've described it as a cleansing.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I would say so. The planet is, we're all children of the earth, right? That's why
Yeah.
I named our, the coalition, the Children of Earth Coalition.
Hmm.
But we are all children of this planet.
Hmm.
And so we are going to experience whatever she's experiencing.
Yeah.
And she's shifting and changing, and she's riddled with parasites and, all of these different things. So it's time for a cleanse. And
Hmm.
while she purges that, we're doing the same, however way that looks, through our consciousness, through our physical bodies, you know, and the different events and things that we create, you know, however that looks, everything is
Yeah,
going to change.
relationships falling away and new relationships coming
Exactly.
in.
Exactly.
Yeah. Would you say the Hopi prophecies are happening right now?
Yes, absolutely.
I feel
Um, the Sasquatch messages are very, very much in alignment with the Hopi prophecies.
that. Mm-hmm.
You know, it may not be worded the same way, but um, yes, I would say that all of that is coming to pass right now. Plus many, many other prophecies that there have been, you
Yugas.
know,
I think that's the
y-
changing of the yugas now too, and
yes,
yeah,
yes, so many different things.
it's exciting.
And yeah, I can feel it and I
Mm-hmm.
can see it on different levels. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and they even talk about how time's going to speed up, and there's a lot of different, um, I guess, what would you call it, outlets, that might not be the right word, that talk about time speeding up. And I definitely feel that. I don't know about you, but there are days where it's 1 second it's 11 a.m. and then I swear I turn around, it's 3 p.m. I'm like, are you kidding me? Where
yes.
did the day go?
I know it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm experiencing that too. And
Yeah.
especially when you like look at a whole year that's passed, it's like,
Yeah.
what? How are we in 2025 right
Yeah.
now? You know?
I know.
And yeah, yeah, things speed up. It's been explained to me that when space contracts, that time expands,
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and that's more like interdimensional, multidimensional teachings, but
Yeah.
that's a lot of what we're experiencing right now. And the
Mm-hmm.
planet is going through a lot too, that things that I can't even explain. There's scientific things happening, but it seems like there's definitely a pole shift happening,
Mm-hmm.
not only on a conscious level, but physically. I mean, I'm in Northeast Washington. We've had the warmest winter that we've like ever really had
Yeah.
here. Hardly
Yeah.
any snow, when usually there would be at least 9 inches on the ground right now.
Yeah. It's funny, like I've thought, because I think I told you we've talked, and I love Florida. I'm here in Pennsylvania, and something tells me, like, I don't know, Pennsylvania might be tropical in a few years for all I
Right,
know, if I just stay here.
right.
Yeah. No, but I
It
definitely
could
feel
be.
that too, that what you just said, and I feel like land is going to go under the water and lands are going to come up out of the water. And then I've read
Mhm.
stuff recently that confirms that, so that's very interesting and exciting.
Yes, yeah,
Mm.
I've heard that in some of the ancient prophecies. They say that. I'm pretty sure Edgar Casey also
Mhm.
said that. You
Yeah.
know, seeing I think Atlantis rising from the ocean, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
And does this have
mhm.
to do with, like, a lot of people talk about, I think you've even mentioned timelines merging and the Mandela effect. Does this all tie into what we're talking about?
Yes, definitely. That's all aspects of multidimensionality and
Hmm.
understanding time and space and how that doesn't really exist. The second Sasquatch Message to Humanity book goes pretty deep into that with some of those, you know, deeper understandings of the multiverse, and you know, the folding of time and space,
Hmm.
and how all of that works.
Yeah.
You know, and so um and I have to reread. I've reread it a few different times. I get more out of it each time, because then, you know, it just expands my mind to understand it a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's so
Mhm.
much. There's layers and layers. It's probably like an onion of knowledge.
It is.
Yeah. Thank you for those books, by the way. I
Oh
haven't read them
yeah,
yet, but I plan to.
they're
Um,
fantastic. They're
yeah.
they're life changing. They were for me anyway. So
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure, especially now with what's happening and what's, I'm sure, coming. I mean, a lot of people are talking about the veil thinning. I'm definitely feeling that too. So are we going to be interacting with our multidimensional neighbors as far as the Sasquatch people and the fairies, and are we going to be seeing them more and interacting with them, or?
I think that it's really going to depend on the individual, your personal journey,
Okay.
because a lot of these multidimensional beings approach humans in different ways, or you receive them in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
We are all connected to them,
Mm-hmm.
whether we know it or not, whether we feel it or not. And so people connect with them in different ways. As as for right now, most of that is going to be through our consciousness, through
Mm-hmm.
through telepathy or through seeing different signs, or we receive messages or downloads or things point us to where we need to be or where we need to go or what we need to read or things like that. And these are all guidance from these allies
Mm-hmm.
showing us the direction that we need to look at for this deeper understanding. But certainly if you're in the right alignment with that consciousness, then
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people will have more like physical encounters and more closely personal relationships with some of these guides.
Yeah. We're never
Mhm.
alone. We are so loved.
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
So,
Yeah, and
well,
that's
let's talk
important to
about, we just
remember.
mentioned the books. Um, tell us a little bit about Sunbow Truebrother, who did the translations for the
Yes.
trans. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, he is a French Canadian. He's living in Quebec right now. When I connected with him, he was in British Columbia, just a couple hours, if that, north of where I was living.
Oh my gosh.
Um, but we connected through, I mean, obviously it was the Sasquatch that that
Yeah.
helped us meet and come together. But I found him on a Facebook group. He was sharing some of these Sasquatch messages. It was actually the seventh chapter. It was the seventh message in the first book
Mm-hmm.
that I read. I found that on a group on Facebook, which I never even looked at. But for some reason, I started scrolling. I see all these pictures of Sasquatch, and I'm like, whoa, what is this? So I read it, and I
Your
was like,
future.
oh my goodness, like how come I haven't heard of this person? I was already working with the Sasquatch, for a few years and
Hmm.
receiving messages from them. But when I read this, it was just in perfect alignment with everything. And
Mm-hmm.
so we connected and because of that, and it was also like a really auspicious day. It was like during a full blood moon lunar eclipse or something like that. It was like, yeah, I can't remember if it was an eclipse date anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really amazing. And then from there, he kept receiving more messages that gave him the encouragement and the confirmation to continue. And so he continued to receive these messages, and I was sharing them on Facebook because I already had a following of Sasquatch interest, so I had like an audience that I could share that with so that more people were able to hear these messages and they were really excited about it. And
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, that's really how those Sasquatch messages began.
That's so cool.
But Sunbow is a wonderful person. He's a true, authentic being. He's also, on this path of wanting to change the world. He was also adopted by the Hopi.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so he has a lot to share about his experiences with them and all the teachings that he's received from them.
Mm-hmm.
And um, yes, so
Oh, awesome.
he's a great source, a great channel for this information.
Yeah, you'll have to. I'm making a note. You'll have to send me his info if he would be okay with that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. So lastly, I kind of want to touch on all the amazing things you're doing. You are so busy making this world a better place. You are doing seed exchanges, you're doing permaculture. My goodness, earthship classes. That's like my dream to have an earthship. So when I heard you're doing that, that's so you've done that. Um, so I guess just would you tell us about some of the gatherings you've had? Just describe some of the things you do so people can maybe get some ideas of where they live if they want to start doing this, you know?
Sure, yeah. Well, the main gathering that I've been doing now, this will be the 10th year, is the Sasquatch family reunion.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be called the Psychic Sasquatch Spiritual Retreat, and it's just kind of evolved a little bit, especially after the pandemic and some things changed. That's when the
Yeah.
name changed to Sasquatch Family Reunion as
Mm-hmm.
well. And that's also because that's what I used to call it in my heart. And the Sasquatch said, "That's what it is. That's what you should call it." So I was like, "Okay, that was easy." Um, but the intention with that gathering was, and I mean still is, especially is to honor the Sasquatch, but all different multi-dimensional beings. But there's people from all over the world that uh either have a curiosity, or they have an established relationship and connection with the Sasquatch or these different beings. And like so many others, they feel alone in it, like they can't talk to others about this. And
Mm-hmm.
so this is a space where all these people can come together and share about their experiences and not be judged, and be able to be themselves in a sacred space,
Mm-hmm.
and to learn. It's really amazing. The workshops and the presentations that we have are all very enlightening, and very just transformative.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten so much feedback of um, just how life changing attending one of those events are.
Yeah.
So, and this will be the 10th year for that. We're doing it May 6th through 10th in Kettle Falls, Washington.
Awesome.
And so since then, that I've also gotten involved in permaculture guilds, permaculture groups, which is learning like sustainable ecological ways of living. I'd say to work with the planet and everything like that. But it's a lifestyle. And so that goes from like gardening to landscaping to recycling to just building our soil, making earth ships, pressing apples. It's just the simple things, but returning to a more sustainable way of life. The three principles of permaculture is earth care, people care, fair share. And so anything that's encompassed within that,
Yeah.
is supported by permaculture and what we do. And so we
Yeah.
just did a seed exchange. We're doing another one this week. So yeah, winter is the time for the seed swaps. We'll do a plant sale. And then there's a permaculture convergence that we have in September. And that is a larger group of people coming together, to learn these different things, to have workshops on these different permaculture practices and principles and things like that. And another thing that I host, my partner Christian and I, is the Intenders of the Highest Good intentional circle. And I learned about that when I lived in Arkansas. There's a man named Tony Burrows that wrote a few books about intenders of the highest good.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to a couple meetings of this, and basically it's people that get together. You have, it's a nice potluck kind of thing too.
Yeah.
But you get together and you state what you're grateful for, and then you state your intentions,
Oh.
and you align together. You listen to each other, and you align with each other, and you make these statements for the highest good. And there's ways to learn to say them properly too. Like, you don't want to use words like no or not, or even will or have to, or things like that. You want to state things as if it's already happened, with a positive light. Instead of saying that I intend I am not sick anymore, you say I intend I am healthy. So so it's
Yeah.
the way that you say it, and it makes a big difference. And then with others in the group that are helping each other, and aligning with that, it's amazing and unbelievable at what you can see manifest so quickly. I've there's been like some of the most incredible stories of people that are just like, oh my God, this is my situation, stating my intentions. And then you get together 2 weeks later, and this like almost impossible situation has resolved itself in the biggest, most beautiful way,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we do those bi-weekly
Oh, that's
gatherings. And
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like you just have to get like in the same vibe as the universe, right? Like gratitude and joy and like that positivity. And the universe is like, "Oh, that's what you want? Oh, yeah. Here. There you go. Sure, no problem." But it's
exactly.
like if you have fear and all
Exactly.
this, like you said, the no and whatever, that's static, I feel like that gets in the way. And it can't hear you.
Exactly. Yeah. The universe doesn't acknowledge those negative words, or yeah, if I say negative, but it's
Yeah.
anyway, those cancellating kind of words, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It only hears what you say and what you feel. So it's also great to feel it and envision it, at the same time, and that helps those things to manifest even
Yeah.
faster.
That's awesome. Can you think
Mhm.
of any story that really stands out to you that you're like, "Holy crap, really?" Sorry to put you on the spot. I just love stories
Well,
like this.
yeah, well, I would say what really led me to it and what made me like such a firm believer in it was my first experiencing uh attending these meetings
Hmm.
when I first started to go to them in Arkansas. And my intention was to move to Washington with my son. And it was not an easy situation to
Yeah.
see how this was going to happen.
Hmm.
And so I just started saying the intentions, and within a month, I was in Washington.
Oh my God.
Yes, within a month, I was
Wow.
here.
And things just
Um,
fell into place. It just like,
mhm.
wow.
Yes, yeah, or just, really incredible. Or um, like 2020, that's another example that, during the pandemic when all these groups and gatherings were getting shut down, the facility where I used to host the Sasquatch family reunion, that closed as well. And so all these doors were closing, and I was just like, no, absolutely not. I'm not canceling this gathering. It's going to happen. So I just and kept saying the intentions that however it doesn't matter how it manifests as long as it does. And I felt, like the Sasquatch and all of these different beings kind of giving their gentle push that yes, keep going, keep going. And so it within a short amount of time of stating these intentions, we
Hmm.
found the solution. So yeah, and that was to rent a bunch of campsites where you can have 10 people legally there at a time. So we rented like 12 campsites and had 120 people all together legally. So it's like,
I
yay.
love it. I love it. Good for you. Bravo. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love that. Um, so yeah, I guess just how are we? Okay, all right. We've got about 10 minutes. So, do you have any advice for people that want to do what you're doing? As far as like maybe in their state or their area, do you have any advice or resources to suggest to them to help them get started? Or,
Yeah, well, I guess it really just depends on what you wanted to get started with, but
mm-hmm.
I would say the biggest thing is follow your heart,
Mm-hmm.
follow your heart. That's what I do, or follow your dreams. So much of what I'm doing has come in through dreams or through visions, sometimes years before, and I didn't understand what I was seeing or what I was even supposed to be doing, but then it came together later because I held that vision. I held that feeling in my heart. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where it really all begins, to
Yeah.
find the motivation and the inspiration to get it done.
Yeah.
um but it's easiest to start small, just to
Mm-hmm.
have a little group. I think that the intenders of the highest good is a great way to start, because then you can start co-creating more together
Mm-hmm.
on that level. So like I said, it just really depends on where you're feeling the call to help.
Mm-hmm.
um the best way that we can really help others and the planet
Hmm.
and all of that is to help ourselves first. And
Yeah.
so, but that's also being in service to others,
Yeah.
by helping ourselves. You can look at it as service to self because we need to serve ourselves and be in a good place.
Yeah.
And that's how we can better serve others. So
Hmm.
whatever we need to do um, to heal from different things, whatever if it's reading, if it's meditating, if it's connecting with a group,
Hmm. Yeah.
of like-minded kindred spirits and
Yeah.
things like that, that's always a good way to start.
Yeah.
And then see how it builds from there. But, start off on the smaller scale and watch it grow.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, start Facebook groups and put out flyers. So how long do we have? Okay, so we've got 9 minutes. So would you mind just talking about some of your services and like how people can find you? Just so everyone knows, I'm going to put all, and so you know, I'm going to put all your links in the show notes so everyone knows if they need to want to find you for all your services, it's going to be in the show notes, all the links. But could you just give us an overview of like some of the services you provide or
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, and I do many different things, whatever I'm kind of feeling called to at the time, but I'm a Reiki practitioner. So I offer Reiki energy services in person and long distance.
Mm-hmm.
I also do like psychic readings or card readings or integrate, different things into that depending on what the need is, for the individual.
Yeah.
So, and I offer that in person and, remotely as well. So, and I also work with lots of herbs. I absolutely love making medicines. So that's been a journey I've just been on for a little over a year now. Or I used
Mm-hmm.
to do it on a much smaller scale, like just for myself, but now I'm really enjoying going out there and learning as much as I can about the plants and the herbs,
Mm-hmm.
foraging them, making tinctures and salves that can help people, and that feels very intuitive too. It's like the plants tell me how they want to be blended together, and different things like that. So I have that available. I have quite a bit of it on my website. I finally got it on there. It took me a year, but
Well, you're
finally have
so
quite a
busy.
few, and I'll be adding more.
Mhm.
Yes. And
It's
and
the
then
true medicine.
it is definitely. And I had the flu here,
Hmm.
last week, and those medicines helped get me through it so quickly. So
Yeah.
yeah,
What did you
it was
take, if you don't mind me asking?
great. Well, many different things. The colloidal silver is
Mm.
is one. But as far as herbs, oh my gosh, it's such a big list. But mullein and elecampane,
Uh-huh.
uh, burdock root, um, usnea for the lungs. A lot of it was respiratory. So a lot of what I'm telling you is for respiratory,
Yeah.
and for cough. And then, we made chicken noodle soup and, with all fresh veggies and, all these different things. So there's many different things.
Yeah.
Elderberry,
Yeah.
many different things that could help with that. I think the colloidal silver uh, really helped as
Yeah.
well.
I know one of the things I do when I get sick, I just like eat my weight in garlic every day and no one can st no one can stand to be around me, but it works.
It does. Yeah, garlic is a great one. Oh, and oregano too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I've
oregano.
made
Yeah.
oregano oil. Yeah, that's
Yes.
a great one. But
I
you gotta
think
watch your
that's
tummy.
antiviral, right? And then garlic's antibacterial, or I might have that backwards.
No, they're both. Both
Yeah.
of them are both actually antiviral, antibacterial,
Mm-hmm.
antifungal. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome. Well, I'm glad you're all better.
yeah,
And you didn't cough at all.
yeah. No, I did pretty
You were
good.
worried you were gonna cough.
I had a cough drop, and I've been sipping on some
Yeah.
nice
I'm
herbal
sorry, so I
teas.
interrupted you. So
That help people.
you're posting like tinctures and things like that. Anything else?
Yes. Well, I also just I work with people energetically in different ways as well.
Mm-hmm.
I also love to create, I make flyers for people or like all the different events that I do, any advertising you see me doing, those
Yeah.
I created those
That's
posters.
you? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, you're
and
awesome.
yeah, thank you. I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like a graphic designer when I was younger, but I didn't want to go to school for it or anything. And so, yeah, it's like, oh, yay, the good old internet came around in the meantime, and now there's these programs that help you do it.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that.
You're
And I
really good
make
at it.
Thank you. And I make Orgonite as well, which that's a really fun that it just started as a hobby, but it's really wonderful. I don't know if you know about Orgonite or these different devices, but
Mm-hmm.
they generate a positive energy. They absorb negative energy or thought forms and EMF radiation, 5G, and it puts out a positive energy. And so it's also really good to have around your electronic devices. And it's great to have by your bed at night or to help you meditate, to help plants grow, help
Mm-hmm.
clear the water, whatever it may be. So
And they're
and I have a
pretty.
lot of fun with that. Oh, very pretty. Yeah.
And do you
Yeah.
put, I believe, what are some things go in there? It's copper.
Yeah,
And
metals
mm-hmm.
and crystals. So it doesn't even really matter what kind of metal.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I do use copper, but I actually prefer to use aluminum
Okay.
um, because the energy is able to move easier through it. Especially when you use, do I have one here? You can't really see it. This is the closest one to
Oh,
me right now. But
oh, wow. That's
yeah,
gorgeous.
thank you. But so there's a crystal here at the top that's inside of this wire
Yes.
spiral.
Okay.
So, and then I have a layer of copper. These are actually like copper BBs here. And
Awesome.
then this whole layer here is aluminum. It's mixed in with a shungite powder. So that's why it's
Oh,
black.
yes.
But there's
Very
more
cool.
in there that you can't see too. I hide some in some of the different layers.
And that
But
key is gorgeous. Is that an antique key?
yeah, they're meant to look that way.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. It's
I
like
don't
a
know.
work of art. I love it. Well, it is.
Yeah, it was
That's beautiful,
they were
Kelly.
the keys were garage sale finds. I love garage sales. I find
Hey,
all kinds of goodies to
it's
stick in there. So
that's awesome.
um yes, yeah, thank you. But so yeah, it's basically the metal, the more metal that's in it, the more
Hmm.
effective it is.
Okay.
So you don't need an extreme amount of crystal. The crystal really helps it and it amplifies it, but it
Hmm.
doesn't need to be really loaded down with crystal. It's mostly the metal and the crystal combined when you put it in the resin, it
Hmm.
squeezes it and it creates this piezoelectrical effect.
Okay.
And and so that's what it is. But the bigger the piece, the more metal you can put in, the more effective it is.
Okay. And you sell them, correct?
Yes, I do.
You sell them?
Yeah, and all
Okay.
different sizes. Yeah, I have quite a few on the website. I
Okay.
have more that I still need to list, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, great. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we go?
Um, I suppose that's it. Well, I'll mention the website. I know you're going to post it too, but
Yeah.
um, yeah. So if you're interested in more information about any of the services or things that I sell or have available, the website is www.sasquatchfamilyreunion.com, which is also the same as Children of Earth Coalition.com. They both go to the same place. So in case you see both websites listed.
Yeah.
Um, and then I also have another website that's dedicated to just the Sasquatch messages.
Hmm.
And that's www.sasquatchmessage.com.
Okay.
And so there you can see, different aspects, different messages, different articles and things, videos related to the Sasquatch message to humanity.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes,
All right,
thank
well,
you.
I guess that's a wrap, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and Kelly, thank you so so much for being on. I'm so grateful to have had you. You're awesome. Please keep up the good work. I know you will, and I'm gonna have to get out to Washington now to like get involved with some of this stuff because it sounds so
Yay.
exciting.
Yay, please do.
All right,
Awesome. Well, thank you.
bye, everybody. Take care.
Take care and happy Lunar New Year.
Yeah, happy Lunar New Year.